Okay, part 5. This is the final video, and I apologize. I get to rambling on, and I lost track of my time on the last video, so I apologize. I was trying to wrap it up, and I missed it. So, I'm going to try to pick up where I left off at, and I promise this is the last video of my career in OVW, unless I can think of some more stuff to talk about, but here it is, Saturday night, almost 12:30 in the morning, and I'm running low on energy. I'm going to have to go make some more coffee here. But as I was saying, basically I had somebody on the internet that I had been chatting with, and they were doing their own wrestling stuff, out there in Hazard. I think it was out in Hazard, Kentucky. And they want to know if they could use some of the OVW guys, and they got to be friends with me. His name was Joey Bravo, and he had a buddy of his that was the actual promoter. Joey was just trying to book the talent. So I got all the talent. I got the referee. That was one of the clauses, is I had to use an OVW referee. The other thing was the OVW wrestlers could only wrestle each other. They were not allowed to wrestle outside talent in case they got hurt. Obviously, they didn't want to work with amateurs or backyard wrestlers or whatever. And the other catch was, obviously, they didn't want Kenny Bolin there. So whatever happened there, basically, I don't know the conversation, but Kenny Bolin took this as a big insult to his already enlarged ego, and he went to Jim Cornette, said whatever it is he said to Jim Cornette, and the next thing I know, that stuff got canceled. Those guys didn't have a chance to wrestle, and all of a sudden I was not being used on TV anymore or any of the other shows. So I would show up every single Wednesday night was the TV taping, and I would drive across the bridge over to Indiana, and I would be in my full Macho Man gear, ready to go. I went from being used every single week to not being used at all, and that was a sign. So I eventually started, asking questions, and Kenny's like, well, you shouldn't have been doing all that stuff on the internet, and Jimmy's not very happy with you right now, and he just thinks you're a big mark, and all these insulting things that Kenny was saying to me. Just didn't sound right. I couldn't picture Jim Cornette all of a sudden thinking those things about me. So I would try to talk to Jimmy, and Kenny would try to intercept, obviously, at the time. And basically, like I said, I ended up cornering Jim, and for whatever reason, he blew me off, just said, oh, well, we really don't need you, and just, maybe come back next week. He kept on saying that, and eventually I just stopped showing up because it was just a waste of gas and a waste of my time to drive out there to Indiana to be part of something that they didn't want me to be a part of. So, again, I don't know the conversation that Kenny Bolin had with Jim Cornette, but due to his bruised ego, he no longer wanted me there, and I think it also hurt his feelings because Cornette openly in the locker room said that I was the best guy they had on the microphone, and Kenny didn't like that. And I've known Kenny for, since 1995, so we're looking at 12 years now. Of course, I haven't talked to him in a long time, maybe once or twice after I got fired or let go from OVW. And it's stuck with me ever since because I really feel I could have made an impact in OVW. I don't have the big wrestler, steroid look that the WWE wants, but I was great on cutting promos. Cornette was very happy with me up until that time. Danny Davis, who had worked with Macho Man Randy Savage earlier in his career in the late 70s and in the 80s, loved what I was doing. Danny had no problems with me whatsoever. Nobody in the locker room, as far as I know, had any problems with me, except for Kenny Bolin. And it sucked because I missed my time with that, with OVW, and I have I have plenty more stories to tell about it, and some may get me heat or anger, as they call it, whatever, with some of these guys that are wrestling still out there, and some of it may not. Who knows? But I have a lot of good memories. I have a lot of good pictures. Like I said, I keep them all in my book here. I got a little photo album. Got a lot of music videos and wrestling videos I put together on here, and that's about it pretty much. So that's how my career ended in 2001, mid-2001, with Ohio Valley Wrestling. Thanks to Kenny Bolin. Thanks, buddy. And that's it. Kenny has since stayed on there. He does advertising, sells advertising for OVW, and now is doing, of course, announcing, play-by-play announcing, color commentary from what I gather. Cornette was fired by the WWE and Ohio Valley Wrestling. Basically, they terminated him because he was a hothead. Basically, Jim Cornette was a melting pot nonstop. I mean, he would just go off at the littlest things, and he just simmered and simmered, and you could catch him at the wrongest moment, wrongest is not even a word, the worst time, basically. It's getting late, folks. The worst time is almost any time in the life of Jim Cornette at that time. And I think it was just the stress. You know, he had WWE, he had OVW, he had this very small building, he had the pressures of making sure these guys were trained properly, and it got to be very stressful for him because he was doing TV and all these live shows, and I could see how it got to be very stressful for him. But Cornette, from what I was told, and even Kenny Bolin said this, basically Cornette was just a shotgun ready to go off at any moment. And eventually it did catch up with him, not while I was there, but a few years after I was there. He ended up, I don't know if he was choking or he put a choke lock on one of the up-and-coming wrestlers at the time, and that was the last straw. Basically everybody took sides on it, whatever the case was, and Jim Cornette ended up leaving OVW, leaving the WWE, and of course now he's in TNA down in Tennessee, and he's doing stuff with the Jarretts down there. And you'll start seeing some of the former OVW wrestlers like Doug and Danny Basham or Damaja showing up there in TNA, probably plus some of the others that have been released from the WWE that once worked with Jim Cornette in OVW. But once Cornette left OVW, Kenny Bolin, for whatever pull he had at the time, I think he lost it all because he would just use people. And I'm sure, leopard doesn't change its spots. I'm sure he's still the same way. And if he's watching this, big deal, because this is what I've always said, and nothing's going to change my mind. He's the reason why I was fired or let go from OVW. And, I'm not sure you can actually get fired from something that you volunteered to do. I got paid for some of the Louisville Garden shows and some of the house shows we did. Of course, never got paid for TV tapings. But it was cool because I got to gather up. I've got tons of videos of stuff that I've done, both when I was just Thurston Throckmorton and when I was the Macho Man. So I've got all that stuff. I've got memories. I've got lots of pictures, as I mentioned. I've got autographs. And I've had some good times in Ohio Valley Wrestling. And anybody that wants to ever break into business, I'm not sure how OVW is now, but back in 2000, 2001, 1999, when I was there, it was a good place to be, with exception to Kenny Bolin. So I'm going to end this video now, because if not, I will go on a ramble here and a rant, and I don't want to do that, and I'm probably going to miss out on some time here. So, thank you for watching all 5 of these. If you've watched all 5 of them, God bless you. Thank you so much. You must have been very bored, and hopefully I've made this somewhat entertaining. I know I ramble on, and again, any questions, comments, feel free to email me. You can email me at rowdy_ron@hotmail.com. And this should be my final wrestling video, unless I come up with some more stuff. Any questions or comments, again, feel free to email me. Leave any comments. And again, I do thank you very, very much for watching every single one of these videos. And I hope you enjoyed them. Thank you very, very much.